College recruitment starts with you. Welcome back, squad. This is your college recruitment and athletic scholarship coach, Kito Delgado. I hope you guys are having a great day wherever this message may find you. I'm actually coming off a high because I just had the pleasure of speaking with the Hudson Valley Community College football team. They're in the smack dab of preseason camp. So I really want to just send a shout out to them, send a special thank you to Coach Mullen for giving me the platform to really share my story and hopefully, lend some encouragement to the team. The school is they're heading into their 50th football season. So we want to make sure this season is an historic one. And so, fellas, if you guys are listening, best of luck. Stay safe out there. And let's make sure we put in that work. You got people counting on you back home, like I said, and then looking for that return on their investment. So let's do it. But I also, just speaking of camp, there were some sad news that I read about coming out of Maryland. And a young individual during practice, he passed away from a heat stroke. So obviously accidents happen. No, I'm not personally, pointing fingers, but it just serves as a reminder that we really got to do things to take every precaution in making sure our student athletes are safe. So trainers, coaches, let's just make sure we put safety ahead of, wins and losses, right? Part of it is being proactive. Part of it is just really looking to see if a student athlete is struggling. Part of it is, I know you want them to push themselves and they may seem to be dragging, but you know what? Really step back and say, hey, is this athlete okay? Give them enough water breaks. Maybe have practice start earlier in the day when the sun's not out or run them later at night. I don't know what it is, but my point is, guys, there's a family out there who lost their son, and they don't give a damn, excuse the language, they don't give a damn about how many wins the University of Maryland football team has. And quite frankly, there's probably now some kids on that team that they don't care anymore either because they lost a brother, they lost a friend. So let's just, I'm really passionate about sports and football. I love to compete, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, there's nothing more precious than life. So as the adults, if you will, coaches, trainers, let's just, let's take a break, take a pause. Let's make sure we're doing everything possible, which I know the University of Maryland was doing. This isn't a blame game here. I just want to make sure, though, this young man's life, he didn't pass away in vain. Let's learn from this. And he died from a heat stroke. So one thing that they did talk about in the article is that you can, when a student athlete suffers from one, you can immerse them in ice water, an ice bath to kind of bring down their temperature. So read more about it. Let's keep our athletes safe. And that's all I have there. But today I want to talk about quickly how we can help our student athletes prevent burnout. I mean, there's a number of different ways, but here's just one strategy that I recommend. I know you guys are used to tuning in and me giving you a winning play. We're keeping it all about recruiting. But at the end of the day, I do have a greater mission besides just getting our student athletes into, college on athletic scholarships. For me, it's about just making sure that we encourage our kids, our children to pursue happiness, right? Because when you pursue happiness, when you do things you're passionate about, you tend to be good at it. And as a result, success comes, money comes, right? Security does come when you do things that you love. So I want to share a story, and I promise it actually will tie into athletic recruiting. So my older brother, he was really good at Belmont Pop Warner football, right? He played at Belmont, Pop Warner here in Schenectady, New York. He was really good. And I remember going, I'm 2 years younger than him. I'd go to the practices. I couldn't play yet. So I would be off to the side. And I would do all the drills, though. I mean, they'd do jumping jacks. I'm doing the jumping jacks off to the side. They're doing sprints. I'm doing that. When they start doing plays and drills, I'm off to the side. I'm running it on air. I'm spinning on air. Like I'm juking and I'm falling on the ground as if I'm getting tackled. Like I was committed to this, right? So much to the point that my parents said, hey, let's go to the store. They bought me one of these plastic helmets, plastic shoulder pads, pants. And I would wear my little jersey, my whole uniform to practice. I was all in. And then finally, a couple of years passed, where I had the opportunity now to play Pop Warner. In the first couple of days, they're trying to give you the tips, the drills, there's no real hitting going on, right? We're just kind of, just having some fun, doing the drills, practicing on dummies, no real contact going. I think we were just wearing our helmets the first couple of days, maybe even the first week. I'm not sure all the details. It was a while ago. But eventually, though, we put those pads on, all the pads, and it became real. And just as a side note, we're not talking about football the way it's played now, the way it's coached now. We're talking, I'm going to date myself here, 30 years ago, where it was all about collisions and who can hit the hardest. You'd have all these ridiculous drills, which I think now would be banned, of kids. You line your head, you lay on your back, head to head. They drop the ball, you'd get up, and then first person to stick the guy. I mean, it was crazy. Or you'd have, you form a circle around a player, and then one guy would go in the middle, and then the players would run in and just collide with each other. And they were talking Pop Warner here. This is ridiculous. So, but it was glamorized. Hitting was glamorized. Who can knock who out, right? We had all the Sports Center top 10 plays even then, back then too. Much different culture today, thank God, than it was back then. We didn't have flag football. But my point is, I say this because I never really hit anyone before. I was always on the side, pretending to hit. And then when I realized when it was actually time to hit, I wasn't about that life. And I remember very vividly, we had offense versus defense. I'm in the huddle. They put me at running back. And all I know is, for some reason, the coaches had it this way. By the way, coaches, do not do this. I'm talking particularly at the Pop Warner level. You don't want to do this. But they had like all the really, really good players. I mean, really good players. The bigger, stronger, faster. Maybe they played one more year of Pop Warner on the defense for this drill. And then they had, at least I felt, all the younger and new, players, not as skilled players on offense. And we were almost like their practice dummies for the starting defense. And I'm like looking across, I'm like, this is this is a little lopsided here. But anyway, they're like, Kito, you're going to be running back. We're going to throw you, hand you the ball. You run to the, right, do a little sweep. You're fast and you score a touchdown. Everybody's happy. And I'm like, who's going to get the ball? You want me to get the ball? And they're like, yeah. I was like, no, I'm good, coach. Like, what are you talking about? Everybody wants to score. I was like, no, I'm good. I'll block. Because I knew looking across on the other side were, some beasts, some boys that I wanted no parts of. So fast forward, I may have practiced 1 or 2 more days. And then finally I said, I do not want to do this. And really at the end of the day, I was afraid of fear. I was afraid of getting hit. Right. That was the number one thing. I loved playing football. I was just afraid of getting hit when it all came down to it. I let my fears get the better of me. So players, if you are listening, never succumb to your fears. Don't let your fears punk you. You got it. Just overcome it. Knock them out the box and keep it moving. But don't ever succumb to your fears. That's just a quick side note. So I go home now. I got to tell my dad. I got to tell my parents. Actually, I wasn't really worried about telling my mom. I knew my mom was going to say, okay, it's okay, honey. Right. This is what moms do. But my dad, we grew up in a home where he was like, there's a couple of things in our house: education, church, hard work, and then and lastly though is you finish what you start. Right? Not only do you finish it, but there's no such thing as being excuse the language, but half-ass. We don't do things half-ass. So here I am, like, oh, I gotta tell this man that I don't want to play football. This is going to be tough. I was just dreading going home and telling him because I felt like I was going to be disappointing him. And sure enough, go home, say, hey, I don't think I want to play football anymore. Now, mind you, we're not talking like after one season of being played. You know what I mean? Like, or no, like this is a couple of days in. He just paid. He wrote the check to Pop Warner. They bought me my new cleats. Like, you know how it is, parents. You just cut that check, and now your daughter's coming home. I don't want to do it anymore. And so I had to do that. But again, it was either tell him that, face him, or face these linebackers and linemen. I was like, I'm gonna face that. So his answer to this day sticks with me. Looks me right in the eye, and he says, Kito, I never want you to do something that doesn't make you happy. I don't want you doing anything in life. Forget sports for a second. I don't want you doing anything in life simply because you are trying to make me happy or looking for my approval. And then he keeps going, but then he kind of turned it around and made a fun joke. He's like, and plus, man, it's cold out there sometimes. It's raining. You got the mud. Nobody, wants to play out in those conditions. Those are tough conditions. And like, mind you, it was like super nice out every practice. But my point was, I actually think he was at some of these practices and saw me and was like, I don't want him getting hit. Get him out of there. Who knows to this day what his motivation was. But my point is, he let me know in that moment that, it's my life. These are my decisions. Now, obviously, he's there. My mom's there. They're there to guide me and lend support. But I always believed from that moment on that they gave me license to be me. Right. And quite frankly, I got exposed to so many things. And we talk about now in this world about, don't just have your child play one sport, let them play multiple sports. I'll add, how about we expose our child to more than just sports? I mean, I was actively involved in the church. I did plays. We went camping as a family. I played, like I said, multiple sports, but then I was an usher in my church. I did the choir. I remember when I came home from school, my mom would have me help her cook. I mean, I played the drums. Like I was just exposed. I'm not saying my parents are perfect. This isn't the point of this episode. Not, but I do believe that exposing me to so many different things made me understand that I was more than just an athlete, and that I could pursue whatever I wanted, and it was their job to just try to help me discover what it is that I was passionate about. See, here's the problem, in my opinion. I say this very out of love, but a lot of parents, they understand that we only get one shot at life, right? They get it. They're fully aware of it. The problem is many of you are looking for a do-over. And the way you're looking for that do-over is through your children. You're saying, well, I wasn't good at baseball, so I'm going to have my son play baseball. I wasn't good at soccer, or I didn't take it to that next level, so I'm going to have my daughter play soccer, whatever the case may be. Here's the reality, parents. It's not our job to force feed our children our passion. Instead, it's our job to help them discover theirs. That's our role as parents. And here's the funny thing. I quit Pop Warner. I went back out my 7th, 8th grade year. I tried out for the modified football team. Ended up quitting that. I went back out one more time as a junior. Then as a senior, both years making all conference. all area all-star team, ended up going to college on a full athletic scholarship for football. You see, your passions tend to find you over time. And it's because my parents gave me that space to discover it and learn it on my terms, on my own. That's why I believe I excelled at it when I was ready. So here's your winning play, parents. If you want to really prevent your child from burnout, here's one thing to do. There's two things. Number one, again, forget just having them play multiple sports. That's a given. Multiple sports has to be on the table. But expose them to music, to art, to STEM, to cooking, dancing, whatever the case is. But expose your child to all types of things in life, because here's the reality. A lot of parents are upset. You know, they feel like they drag their children kicking and screaming to practices and all this stuff. And I get it, guys. I understand sometimes it's kids are going to be kids. But you won't have to do that when they're passionate about something. You find that passion inside of them, you won't have to drag them to get better at it. They're going to want to work. And as a result, because they're working, they're going to get better. And guess what? When you get better at something, doors tend to open up for you. Opportunities tend to come your way, right? So that's the first thing, is expose your child to more than just athletics. You're like, what, really? But I promise you, when they do that, it's going to help them become more well-rounded. But then lastly, I challenge you. I encourage you to really have this discussion with your child and ask them a very simple question. Why do you play sports? And I'm talking now as my 9th graders, 10th graders, right? Because you're in that phase now where you're trying to see if they want to make it to college. But ask them, why do you play sports? And see what their answer is. And you know your child better than anybody else. So only you can really listen and understand, you know, if they're being honest with you. But hopefully, whatever it is that they say, your response needs to be, well, I was just asking, because I just want you to know, I don't want you to ever do anything in life that does not make you happy. Furthermore, I don't want you to feel as though you have to play sports for my approval. I'm going to love you. I'm going to support you. I'm going to cheer you on, no matter what path, obviously. I mean, we're not talking about, you know, being couch potatoes and doing nothing. All right. So it's not what I'm saying here, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm getting at. Let them know that they have options. Let them know that you support them no matter what. Let them know that they don't need to do it for your approval. And once they hear that, I'm telling you, that's a game changer. And that's going to help, believe it or not, that's going to help your child if the pursuit of college athletics is their goal. That's going to help them reach their goal, because now they understand that pressure is relieved, is taken off of them. I mean, I could have a whole other episode about how to respond to your student athlete after a win or a loss, you know, their games. I can talk to you about how you should behave in the stands. This all adds in, because these student athletes are getting burnt out, partly because of the stress that our parents are putting on them. So if you want your child to perform at a high level, I promise you, there's just some basic things you got to do. Be quiet in the stands. They get done with a game. Don't ask them about the game. Give them their space, right? I know I'm approaching the 20-minute mark, so I'm going to leave it at that for now. But I really encourage you. Your winning play this week is simple. Sit down with your student athlete, particularly if they are in the 9th, 10th, 11th grade, and be very upfront with them. Have a candid conversation. Ask them the question, why do you play sports? And then follow it up with, I just want you to know, no matter what you decide to do, I support you. I love you. And I don't want you doing it for my approval. Do that. And I guarantee you, those who do want to play in college, you've just given them a big advantage. You just stoked the fire, if you will. Before we go, just want to encourage you. If this was helpful to you in any way, I really want you to give the show that assist. Please share it. Let's just help the show grow. Let's just spread this message. You can share it. You can also subscribe to the podcast. And please leave us a review. If the show is helpful to you, leave us a review on Apple Podcast. And then lastly, you can let's connect on social media. You can follow URECRUITU, the letter U, URECRUITU on Instagram and Twitter. And then you can just search URECRUITU on Facebook. And again, it's the letter U. Don't spell it out. But until next time, this is your college recruitment and athletic scholarship coach, Kito Delgado, reminding you that college recruitment starts with you. What steps are you taking today to earn an athletic scholarship tomorrow?